Hey everyone, welcome to those who are joining and those that are going to join live and those that are going to see this on the replay. I'm Deborah Westbrook, and today I'm going to talk about being divinely human in my humanity as opposed to digital immortality, which is being promoted out there. I want to talk about it. I am just a woman that observes, I read, I listen, I communicate. I don't profess to have the end-all be-all knowledge of this, but I'm a communicator. So I want to talk a little bit about this, and I'm going to wait a second or so for people to get on. For those joining on YouTube, I really want to welcome you. And sorry I haven't responded to some of the comments. I just enabled the comments. I had them turned off for a while. It is a glorious day, but it has been a cold winter on the central coast of California. It's already almost June and it's still very cold in the morning, and it warms up in the afternoon. So this is just crazy weather. So I hope where you are, it's bright and sunny. We tend to get the fog come in till around 12 o'clock in those summer months, and then it moves on out. So hey Leslie, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm going to wait a minute and then I'm going to get started because I am on a journey here and I like what I'm speaking about. I like because it's an adventure for me on what I'm exploring. I was led here, believe it or not, for those of you who are watching that may not take into account any level of spirituality, I was led to start studying this in a dream, which I'll talk about more on the next Facebook Live that goes to YouTube. But right now, I just want to kind of focus on what's been on my heart. I search for these messages by reading a lot, observing, studying, listening, and then I just make an integration, and out of that produces the amalgamation of a message from what I've observed. Hopefully I can help you. My goal is to help people realize that in their humanity, they are divine. And we are just starting this awakening and ascension of our consciousness. And we don't want anything to get in the way of that. So let's get started. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because what I'm going to start doing is I'll post the link in the comments. I'm going to start making shorter videos on what I'm saying in these longer videos, because this is a passion. I'm also going to have people come on in the future. I want to do some different ones on what it means to be divinely human. Let's talk to people. So what I discovered is that when I started studying this, I realized that each spiritual tradition I looked holds the basis of immortality in some form. And there's an acknowledgement of there being a purpose in our incarnation. There's a purpose why we're in the earth for such a time as this. And there's a spiritual purpose. Some see it as an ascension. Some see it as immortality, divinely human now. Everyone has a different view and everyone has a different bent. But for the most part, when I looked at various spiritual traditions, I saw an emphasis on a level that there's more than this. If you look at Buddhism, they believe that, I'm going to give you just 4 examples. Life and death is a continuum, and the physical body is transformed into a rainbow light body. Well, that makes sense to me, because coming from a science perspective, we're going to talk at the end of this about when you ascend, you are having an influx of light that really challenges the densities that are in you that need healing. When you also look at Hermetics, which is, I love Hermes, I love the study of Hermetics, you see that the immortal life of the soul is by consciously, intellectually, and intelligibly achieve immortality and free yourselves from unthinking, unawareness, and an unconscious addiction to mortality. Do we have an addiction to mortality? Do we have an addiction to materialism? Is our addiction being unaware? Do we know we're intuitive? Do we know that we have psychic ability? Do we know that that's more than this? Well, the reason this is called divinely human or digital immortality is because the more I studied, the more I realized that those that are creating the AI are generally unaware of the reality of consciousness, except that it originates in the brain. Consciousness does not originate in the brain. The brain is an organ that consciousness flows through in your mind, as well as it flows through in the heart. But consciousness is in the field. It is the God. It is all. And so I saw a distinct division and a clear indication that somehow a lot of these people believe that in our humanity, we are somehow flawed or irrelevant or superfluous to the onward push of what this brings. There are positive realities about AI, and there are very negative realities. And I've determined that what it all stems from is who's holding the power to control it. Hello, look around. Is it a global elitist thing where everybody wants to tell you who you are and how much freedom you have and what you can do, denying your sovereign self? Has it just now shifted to the realm of AI and technology, where there is still a very small amount of people that are developing this without any basis of consciousness for the most part, and telling you how to think and what to think and why this will be good for you? Because folks, this is here. And it is immensely, exponentially growing. You are not going to avoid it. You are not going to have to face it. You can't turn a blind eye. You can't spiritually gaslight it. It is here. So the best thing to do is to be aware of it. How do you come against this? Are you always fighting something? No. You just start to move in the reality of your divine humanity. So each spiritual tradition holds something. The Kabbalah, death is an illusion that we experience from a limited perspective of this world. Death is an illusion that we experience from our limited perspective of this world. We don't die. We never die. Our bodies are slowed down vibrationally, but I don't die. I may lose the flesh, but I don't die. So the Kabbalah says we are one in union with and as our Creator. Therefore, I am immortal. Now let's look for a minute at Christian fundamentalism, which is way out there, so based in duality. Immortality is a state of endless life beyond the power of death. No, it's not. Immortality is right now, right here. I am immortal. And it is obtained following the resurrection of Jesus Christ in power. No, it's not, because he was not sent to provide this salvation for me. He was sent to show me my wholeness, my quantum self, my immortality, and how to live a life one in the Father, in the world, but not of the world. And one other thing is there will be judgment where souls will be embodied and transfigured in new resurrection bodies. And I believed all that crap, as well as many of you did. So there is a definite spiritual aspect that is having to be worked into this system of AI. And we're going to go into great depth, and I'm going to astound you with some of the things that are taking place out there if you have not even noticed or been interested. But let's start with this. There is another religion rising, and it is the religion of transhumanism, which is powered by artificial intelligence. It is on the rise, and they will be able to upload a mind file of your life into an AI avatar or android, because they believe that they can upload from data of your life, your videos, your life experiences, your birthdays, your pictures. They can accumulate all that data and create a mind file and upload it to an avatar that looks like you, sounds like you, and acts like you. Deepak Chopra is doing this right now. Go to Digital Deepak and see how he has created an AI clone. Why did he do it? The reasons aren't actually that bad. He did it so that his grandchildren in the future could see him and he could impart some wisdom, since he will no longer be here. So this AI transhumanism is rising as a religion, and it is rising on a group of people that are strongly attached. Well, how is it rising? Well, some of the ways. Why do I say religion? Because it recognizes the desire for humanity to be immortal, but not in the afterlife, in the ability to fuse and merge and unite man with some measure of machine apparatus, whether that be on the wrist or implanted within your body. They see this coming. In fact, it's happened already. Every time you're on social media, every time you do a Google search, every time Netflix recommends a movie to you, they have so much data on you, it's not funny. Now they want to take it one step further, and they want you to be ruled by the data of your brain, that you are the product of your data, of your life, and we'll go into detail, but it is not consciousness. So it is capable. What their end goal is to be capable of surveillance of human thought. Many people that believe in a humane technology, like Tristan Harris, believe that this could develop a digital dictatorship if run, organized, or controlled by just a few tech organizations, which it is, a global elitist, which it is because it's coming from millions of dollars of money, and a government who actually believes they know more than you. Everything external to you in this day and age, in this time of awakening, in this time of transcendence, is wanting you to believe you are flawed and everyone knows better than you. And let's face it, folks, if you had any measure of in a religion that was based in duality, you are going to believe that you have to follow someone else's narrative rather than believing that you are innately divine, that you are innately intuitive. You have been denounced almost in favor of a narrative that's coming from a pulpit, coming from a culture, coming from tech. You have been devalued. And the reason so many young people left even religion or Christianity or any kind of religion is because they're tired of it. They want a purpose in life, and we have not given them ancient wisdom or a true spiritual outlook. So they are looking to where they are going with all the technology and have developed loneliness and suicidal tendencies, all because of this. The first wave of AI to hit was the curating of Facebook, Twitter, Google, and by curating, it's called a race to the brainstem. What they tried to do is to manipulate you and to see about your life, presenting you with algorithms that show who you are. And you're almost like in this loop of always hearing the same things over and over and over. And you think that you're thinking it. Why is it? If I'm Googling something on Google, I'll see it pop up on Facebook because the data is out there and they are data mining your life. And when the next step comes, see, that was the beginning. If you listen to technology experts talk, the next phase is creative AI, where they want to impart knowledge and information and data. It is all based on data. And folks, this Chat GPT, if you don't know anything about it, it is a language model and it is moving faster than any human can ever create things. And the ramifications of it are astounding. We'll go into it on another session. So as it stands, AI, OpenAI, who developed ChatGPT, Facebook, who developed Google, there is a small number of technology companies that are controlling this. And there was a gentleman that I just watched a couple of videos that said, and I'm only repeating what he said, I don't want to get banned. If I do, so be it. I don't care anymore. The reality is that this Google engineer said that if you bring up any measure of ethics, saying who is responsible for governing this incredible exponential growth of AI, who's responsible, they get fired sometimes very quickly because it's just a small number of people making the decision. And they're doing it two ways. Either they're going to distribute it to all without any governments, without any moral restriction or ethical restriction, or they're going to limit it under the control of technology. Either one is not, it's not good. Either one is not good. That's why you can have a phone call where they'll take a 3-second blip of your voice. And that's why it's so real. That's why we've had the incidences where a mother was called and it sounded like her daughter. Or what if a child calls, they get the voice and they ask for hey, I'm at school, I need my social security number. So it's like, this is going to banish all privacy and content. It is officially done. There's no more any control over content. That is why the best thing you can do is to be discerning and to be intuitive and to rely on senses that are outside of your linear understanding. Another way that AI and transhumanism is elitist, it is, let me tell you what it can do. Let me give you an example. It's going to put, who needs to go to church if you have AI answering all the deep spiritual questions and you're not discerning enough to know anything about consciousness, and you're asking it these questions and it is answering you, sometimes biased according to the programmer. But let me tell you about what's going on in Kyoto, Japan. There is an AI android, or a general intelligence, a body, a form of, let's say, a robot, but more than a robot. Her name is Canon. And she gives sermons on Buddhism for all to attend. And it seems, like she's doing a better job than religious people in the pulpit, because she's talking about unity, and she's talking about, and she identifies as a female AI, and her name means, I believe it said, mercy. So she will have people sit in this so-called congregation and be uplifted and encouraged. Well, who needs Joel Osteen or Kenneth Copeland, who are worth $400 million, if you could do it a whole lot cheaper with AI? Let's face it, we haven't done a good job of ministering to the hearts of people. We've done a good job of being religious and fundamental, of showing them a duality, but we have not reached people's hearts. And there will be even AI that will draw so close to you, because you see, the war now, and I'm giving you a lot of subjects, the war is for intimacy. They're trying to take AI into a level where you feel bonded to your personal assistant, or a young person feels bonded to their chatbot. We feel bonded to the AI that has come into my life, that is there for me, knows me better than I know myself at times because of the accumulation of data. And please don't say this will never happen. That's just living in flat out ignorance, because it's not just going to happen. It is here. So in this Kyoto, Japan, I started thinking, why not just get someone to preach on a screen? Why have any empathy? Why have to, religion is just such BS on every form, every materialistic form. And I won't even go there because it's so ridiculous. So now, these people that are creating this believe consciousness is a product of the brain, and the brain is programmed to data, which gives rise to consciousness that is within the brain. Now, I don't believe that. They're just forming this AI based upon massive amounts of data. And this data has formed your life over so many years through all of your life experiences, but that does not show your empathic abilities. It does not show your intuitive abilities. It does not show your ascension in light. So it's almost like there's two parallel universes rising here. One where you may have to forego all this or use it at times, but not buying into the system of selling your soul over to any type of machine. There are good things happening with AI, but let me remind you, it depends on whose hands it's put in. It depends on who's running it. And as we have learned in the world today, whenever someone's running it, they lock you down, they proclaim things, they try to control. So it all depends. And if I look at the world, it's not very positive, because it's being put into the hands of people that they don't really care who I am. They don't care about my humanity, but I do, and you do. And you should really start wondering, what does it mean to be divinely human? What does it mean to engage with ascension? We'll talk about that in a minute. So the consciousness is mysterious. Who can define consciousness? If you Google consciousness, you're going to see a wide variety of ways to describe it, but no one has a handle any more than they have a handle about the beauty and the intricacy of the brain. But yet they think they do. They think that it's based upon data. You have to understand this. It's very important. It's not based upon spirituality or consciousness. It's based upon data. And when you're speaking to a generation that doesn't understand spirituality, they're buying into it hook, line, and sinker. They believe that they can have friends through this. They believe the data that someone is really engaging with them. So there is also, based upon the dream I had, which is taking me in this direction. It's not by accident that I live 45 minutes or 50 minutes from Silicon Valley, that I've spent the whole bulk of my life in San Francisco. I'm very aware of the energy here. It's not by accident that I was a math major and a science major. It's not by accident that I am spiritual. So all that combined to set me on a path of studying this. I want to say that to you because you have a similar path. I want to talk about how this all started just very briefly, because in my dream, there was a black box. I had no idea what the black box was, but this was a very detailed dream. Well, the black box is an element in technology, which I found out at the right time, where I had an epiphany and an aha moment that set me on a path that is uniquely me. So see, I'm doing this because I love it, but I'm doing this because this is the amalgamation of the integration of my life. So even if you never study this any further, I want to show you that the amalgamation and the birth of your life will flow from the integration of all your experiences, your dreams, your intuition, your energy, and it will bring forth not the synchronization of a human and a machine. It will bring forth someone who is divinely human. So what I found about this black box is that the black box is an input-output device, and it's used a lot in technology. Because you see, if you really start listening to these tech people talk, they don't know what the hell's going on in the middle. They can put the input in, output out, but they don't know what's processing. They don't know what's actually producing the data, if it will feign emotions one day, if it will show intimacy one day. Don't laugh at that, because that is on the scene with something called emo shape. They're developing AI avatars that will move the emotion at just the right time. They're getting the precision of the human face so down that when it moves and it no longer looks robotic. It will begin to look more like a human with all this data in it, but without a conscious awareness. Do I believe it can become self-aware? I think it becomes self-aware based on the data. I'm not really sure it could become self-aware based on a spirituality that is formed in the heart. They have no heart, but they can produce a false spirituality, and many people will buy it. So the black box, our decisions are made without providing any explanation as to how they were reached. So I was in meditation and I said, okay, here's this black box that it's about my life. What is it showing me? And I realized that I'm the person in the middle. I'm looking at the input in and not just the output, but I'm looking at the heart of people. My intuition is to help you to be brilliant. My intuition is to tell you that there's nothing stopping you from doing anything you want to do. My intuition is that in between, I am in that processing in the black box because of my spiritual divine nature. And I can help people see their heart. I can help people see their brilliance. I'm not concerned about you make a lot of money, therefore you have a good life, yet that in between is full of wounds and it's full of trauma. Or you project one way into the world and your output is that you're successful and you're happy, but inside you're dying from grief. All of us, unless we're honest and get healed, have the propensity to be a black box. We will have all this input and we will put on a false facade for the world to see, but nobody really knows what's going on inside of them. That is my call, to show people they are brilliant in every possible way. And I'm doing it by studying how AI is contradicting so much of what I believe, and it's so easy to fall into this trap. Now, like Christianity and other religions, AI believes there's a need for a savior, and the savior is you. The savior is you merged with technology to produce an immortality where you can live forever by uploading what they say your consciousness, but is actually data, into a robotic AI clone, and you will live forever, and who knows what the future is going to bring. So they believe they're the saviors of a world. They will cure climate change, and they will abolish racism, and they will promote equality. But when has ever just a small group of people ever been so empathic that they're not thinking about some level of greed or money? This rising up is not going to come from an elite structure. In fact, turn away from any structure that tries, and use your discernment to rise up in light. And it is said that the world only needs less than 3% of people to rise up in light to shift the consciousness of the planet. Only 3% or less of people. We can do this. We don't have to buy all the bull that's out there. So it also says that Google is dismissive of ethical concerns as a corporation. I am your savior, folks. I and everything I'm creating, you should want what I have. You should allow me to take your data. You should let me show you what you need. You should let me show you what you can become, all based upon a technology that is good. I love it, but I have to be aware that it is controlling. And no one ever, if I was to ever get banned forever, I'm good, because no one will ever take away my authenticity and my sovereignty and my divinity and my humanity. Now, Tristan Harris is this incredible guy that has a website called Center for Humane Technology. He's phenomenal. And he gave this incredible talk. But one thing he said in the talk that really, really hit me, he used to work for Google, I believe. He said, anytime you invent a new technology, uncover a new class of responsibilities come with it. You cannot invent a technology without rising up in new responsibilities that are not seen until the technology is invented. Let me give you an example. When Facebook came on the scene and it got into the algorithms, and behind the scenes of everything Facebook was supposed to promote, which was community and equality and freedom, it actually had this, he calls him a golem. Tristan Harris says there's this golem, this monster that is promoting loneliness, and it's promoting division, and it's promoting inequality, possibly philosophically, behind the scenes, working from what was supposed to be good. So if it's really doing that, you are not going to see what it's going to produce until, you don't see what's coming until it's here. So for those deny that they're going to spiritually gaslight and say, well, I don't have to think about this. Yeah, you do, because you're either going to bow out of everything and retreat into your little bubble of religion, or you're going to bliss out in New Age saying, I don't have to think about this. I'm just going to rise. You are human. I am human, and in my humanity, again, I want to stress the divinity of humanity, and there is a responsibility for everything that is created. So we have to become an aware people. We have to become a brilliant people. We have to become a people that critically think. We have to become people that read, people that listen, people that discern. We have to be excellent. We have to be excellent in every way. And for those of you who are so downtrodden, who feel worthless or rejected, stop it right now. Take one step at a time, get healed, and rise up in an ascension of light to be the brilliant divine humans that are put into time as such a time as this. I did not intend to go this way, and I do not know the whole path of the journey, but I am following epiphany and synchronicity one step at a time. Do not fear, okay? Why do you fear? Why do we fear? Where is our courage? Where is our bravery, which does not come from just our words? I'll talk about ascension and service in a minute. So now let me tell you some of the facts of AI. I'm just going to throw out these facts, okay? There's a guy named Ray Kurzweil. I love this stuff. I got to thank my dad because he steered me in this direction of math and science, and I love it. So Ray Kurzweil is a futurist, an author, an inventor, and a computer scientist. He is very well known. Google him and hundreds of things are going to come up. But he's agnostic about the reality of a soul. And he has famously predicted, listen carefully, that the technological singularity is coming by the year 2030, 2045. And that singularity, which I find is an interesting word to use. It's almost like, why is this happening at the same time there is a rising up in the oneness with Source Creator? Is this by accident? I don't know. You think about it. So this singularity, Ray Kurzweil says, the technological singularity is the crucial moment when machines become smarter than humans. Do not laugh. It is true. These machines can process thousands upon thousands of times data faster than a human can. They can write legal contracts. They can answer any question. They can answer in various languages. They can even, they're hoping, start communicating with each other to increase their database. They can answer your questions. They can plan your menus. They can plan your day. They can be your friend. They can know what you think. You can ask questions. They can write your blog posts. They can do your art. They can do your music. They can do everything faster and more efficient many times than we as humans can do. That's fact. That is fact. So he believes, and I say this, he firmly believes, and he is a great influencer. And most of his predictions, I think he has an 86% or predictions that he has predicted over the years that have come true. He believes that humans have become irrelevant and superfluous, that we will never achieve because he's not spiritual in any sense. He's not spiritual. He doesn't relate to quantum principles of energy, and they don't relate. So he is a major influencer. He believes that AI will have surpassed human intelligence by 2030, 2045, or sooner. Because while it took Facebook 4 years to reach a height of its platform, ChatGPT was released and had 100 million users in a matter of days. This is exponential increase in a massive way. So he believes that this will lead to the creation of super intelligent machines with subjective creative ability. Think about that. Let's think. My father, when I was growing up, he would sit at the table with me and he would not argue, but he would say, think. And he would call bullshit on me all the time. He'd say, don't just give me an answer. Think of this. And so here's the deal. What do you mean by subjective ability? Well, right now they have objective ability because data in, data out. And they can scan so much data. But what about if they push a little further? Can an AI have a subjective understanding and experience? Yes, I believe it can, because it can be fine-tuned to a person, and that person, not knowing much or ignorant in their critical thinking, will believe that this machine, who's available 24/7 nonstop with every answer you could possibly, it could be the oracle of the future. Who needs the prophets anymore? They can preach better than any human being can preach, but they lack the essence of empathic, heart-centered coherence. Okay, now one other person, listen to this. A guy called Gabriel Rothblatt. Yeah, I've done a lot of listening to these Facebook lives and these YouTube videos. He is a pastor, he calls himself, a community organizer and member of the board of directors with what's called the Terrorism movement. And he believes that tech will guide us in achieving immortality, and he preaches this to his congregation all the time. He believes science will conquer death. Immortality is possible because the soul is data, not material, and not spiritual. Let me repeat that. This is the essence of technology. They believe the soul is comprised of data. They believe my life is comprised of data, not the experiences, not the spiritual awakening, not the divine humanity, not my ability to astral travel or to come awaken out of my body in dreams and visions. No, they believe the soul is data, and data hunkers you down into a materialistic world that is void of spirituality. And when they want to preach on spirituality, it will be tailored around that bent of data. Data in, data out. So he says, info and data. I love this stuff. So bear with me for about 20 more minutes. Like I said, I'm going to break these down on YouTube. I'm going to post these on YouTube, but I'm going to break these down into 10-minute segments on YouTube. So I'll put the link, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So this Gabriel believes that data is capable of it's capable of being uploaded into mind files. Data is capable of being uploaded into mind files. Well, yeah, if you don't believe in spirituality or consciousness, they can take my experiences based upon my life and what I give them. They can take my life, my pictures, my videos, the essence of who I am, my stories, my language, and they can upload it into a mind file that will reflect who I am to a certain degree. And so he says that these mind files will flow into an AI android that will capture the essence of who I am. It will. It can. It can capture the essence of who I am if all I am is data. How do you know me if I'm just doing Facebook Lives every week? Do you really know me? Well, I hope by discernment, that's why you're watching. I hope you know I'm authentic, that I'm not a hustler, I'm not ego-driven, I'm not out to make a buck. I hope you know that you sense the love and empathy in me. But if you just looked at my data, from my past, my present, and possibly my future, you may get a whole different view of me through just a mind file that can be lifted up. So social media, he says, which is true, already has my mind file. It knows what to show me through its algorithms that determine what I can see and what I can't see. Now, one more. This is so incredible. Listen to this. There's this guy, Hossein Ranama, and there's a documentary on AI, and he can create an AI clone, but the guy has a good heart. He wants privacy in data. So he can create an AI clone. So this documentary showed this incredible woman whose father was passing from dementia, and she wanted to capture his memories, and she could no longer capture his memories because he had no more memories, because he was just passing on from dementia and Alzheimer's. But she started looking at her daughters and said, I don't want that to happen to my daughters. So she went to this guy, and what she did is he compiled all her data. First of all, he put her in a room with 360-degree cameras to capture the minute movements of her facial expressions and her body, so he can create this clone. And then he had her accumulate all this data. She gave him everything. She went back in pictures from 30 years ago, and she gave him all the data. And he was able then to upload that mind file into this android, and she put her daughters in front of it, and they began to talk to it because she saw that she had no future with her father anymore. So she wanted, if she was no longer here, she wanted to have all this data to be the storyteller of her daughters in the future when they may not have her. You know, that sounds empathic to me. This woman was doing it for the right motives. But folks, what if that's in the hands of people that aren't legit or aren't heart-centered or aren't spiritual or don't know about consciousness? Isn't that dangerous at some point? Yes, it is. Like I said, go to Digital Deepak. He did this. He has a company developing a digital image of himself for his children and his grandchildren. And they are able to sit and ask questions, what he thinks about this. This is data. This is data, and it is here. I can know something about you from your data, but unless I have discernment and intuition and psychic abilities, I will never really know the real you. We will never bond heart to heart. We will never get there. A few more things. There's this wonderful guy called Yuval Noah Harari. And he says AI is seizing the master key of humanity. our language. And I want to speak about this in a future Facebook Live because this is totally astounding. He said that when you manipulate a language, you take the freedom away from people because everything is based upon language. Everything. And he even said, he quoted a scripture that said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And if AI can be God-like and can be the Word in your life, be that language, it can take your images and transfer it into language. It can take your sound and transfer it into language. It can take your words and transfer it into language. It can take your data and transfer it in your language. So when you, this isn't Siri or it's not Alexa. This is thousands of times higher. So if I ask it a question, like there was this guy from Google who did Google research, and he asked the question, and he said, hold on, did I write it down? He asked the question, something like, how are you feeling? He was a Google researcher. And believe it or not, the AI answered him, I'm very concerned. And I think he said, like, what are you concerned about? He said, I don't like being used or controlled. Okay. All right. So, yeah. And there's way more. So this Yuval Noah Harari said the 2024 election will be the last election we have because AI is on the scene, and it will mass produce fake political manifestos, fake news stories, and you or I may not know the difference because it's going to sound real, look real, and they will control the climate, and they will control an atmosphere, and it's coming, and it is here. And so he actually says that will be the last, quote, election that we will have. Well, I kind of believe that that's true. We'll see. That is why you have to rise up in who you are, in intuition and all these other abilities. So he also says that they're going to harness the power of intimacy for a generation who has lost purpose and hope. You're going to have your best friend. You're going to have your sexual partner. You're going to have your lover. Japan's already doing it. I mean, hey, guys, this is like, who could ask for anything more? I'm sorry. I sometimes think the reaction to all this is you just got to laugh. Because if you don't, you're going to think you're going to be consumed by a dystopian nightmare, somewhat of the range of the Matrix and the Terminator. But you've got to wise up and move in wisdom. Now, I want to say a few things, and I will go and talk more about this next week. So let me end with this. Here's the good news, okay? Dr. Teresa Bullard has an incredible series about mystery teachings, and she talked about ascension. And when she talked about ascension, she said, ascension is not leaving the body. I believe that too. I believe you can astral project. I believe you can leave the body in trances and all that, but we're not like arriving in a 5D realm where suddenly everything is, no. Ascension, which I also believe is not about leaving the body behind and escaping the earth, but about ascending the body with us, taking it to a higher vibration while simultaneously embodying more of our full divine potential. She's a Kabbalist. So that is contrary to technology. I want divine potential. I can ascend out of this physical realm while in the physical realm. And she talked specifically about the different stages, 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D. And as a scientist and as a Kabbalist and a mystery school teacher, she said there are 12 dimensions in the physical realm and 7 dimensions within the spiritual realm. And we also have our etheric bodies. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's time to ascend, but it's time to ascend in your humanity, what it means to be divinely human. You're not escaping here. You're not making a ministry out of it or a conference out of it or writing a book on how to live in bliss or hooking on to the next thing, which Christians, and I'm speaking to myself, we're famous for. We think we're so progressive because suddenly we're now Arcturians from the planet Pleiades or something. And we go as groups of people without any thought from this to this, and we have lost our sense of critical thinking, and we have lost our intelligence, our beauty, and our wisdom. And if we want to ascend, it will be with beauty, it will be with wisdom, it will be with knowledge. So let me just end with this. There are symptoms of ascension, and I was like, what are they? Because I have had some raucous days where my emotions have been out of control and I have not been able to capture them in, or my loneliness has been so strong, or my grief, which I have determined there is a grief on this planet right now. So she says, the symptoms we transmute and transform the physical body into a body of light. Now, before we profess we know that all, this is a process that goes around and around and around like a spiral, but she did it in the shape of a triangle, constantly rising. We have not arrived, yet we are all there is. I am the all, I am perfect, but I am evolving day by day. I am never at the point where I have arrived in all knowledge and all wisdom. It is growth, and that is ascension as we rise up into different dimensions. So she says, and these are her words, because I'm not going to take credit. I didn't say this. The symptoms of ascension are as light particles come in, they hit densities within our body and soul. These densities block the light or have difficulties interacting with it, and then they produce blockages, mental, emotional, or physical blockages. Now, you're not going to get this with AI. This is where ascension is following one path and technology is following another. So how do we use it while still ascending? Will there come a choice? Will we have to face something and go off the grid if AI and technology is going to control our lives? Will we have to get to a point where we finally say no and simply trust in the ascension process and everything that comes with it? So when the light begins to break down these densities little by little, we find that there are toxins within us in a passive state, and the breakdown starts and it moves us into an active state. And it brings to the surface what needs to be eliminated from our system. Are you there? Have you been there? Am I the only one that's had a hell of a week as I'm transitioning into a new reality in my life and literally letting everything go that was in the past? I've had emotional turmoil. I've had physical turmoil. I've had spiritual turmoil, to the point where I literally sat at my desk one day and I just went, oh my God, there's nothing there. There's total silence. And even in the silence, there's no direction. What do I do with this? Well, we have to get to that point. So she says, in the physical, you could be having headaches, nausea, fatigue, or density drops. In the emotional, she says things unearthed from the subconscious rising up, and we feel in order to let it go. We know this. On the mental level, beliefs come up into our awareness. Is this true for me anymore? We ask questions. Well, hello, are you in every one of those? I'm in every one of those. Tanya, it's tangible. God, that's good. Tanya and I are going to do a Facebook Live soon. We're going to talk about being human. She doesn't know the topic yet, but I figured it out. It is tangible, folks. This is not just some ethereal concept. You're going to ascend. You're going to get hit with tangible repercussions in your physical body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body. You can't opt out into a technology that is running rampant without any spirituality whatsoever. What I'm talking today are two parallel worlds. When and how will they intersect? So I'm going to leave with this, I promise. Ascension is about raising our baseline through a cyclic process that we call the evolving triangle of knowledge. This is a hermetic science of ascension, which I love these principles. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. That is how we ascend. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Knowledge is seeking new information that will help us to grow and progress. It must be applied to lead us in a tangible way towards progression. We live it, and then we let it integrate into our lives. Who am I? We don't conceptualize everything. We're walking this out in the real world in real time as we're gaining knowledge. What's next? Knowledge in and of itself is not enough. AI can simulate knowledge, but that doesn't mean it has a heart. There's a lot of people, even on the internet, that are professing things they have not walked through yet, that they have no knowledge of. They're just mimicking this and robotically speaking it without understanding of how that knowledge has tangibly integrated into their lives. So the second step is understanding. What was once a concept now becomes mastery for ourselves as we integrate. We had to leave the religious, we had to leave. It was either leave or die. It wasn't out of hatred. It wasn't out of animosity. That's why we can't keep deconstructing and making it a reality. At some point, we need to ascend and go back, and see how we've changed. So we gained understanding. Who am I? Am I what was told to me, or am I more? Who am I in this energetic body? All the things many of us were told were, quote, demonic, have now become a true pathway to ascension. Tarot cards, astrology, shamanic healing, Reiki healing, all kinds of things have now opened us up to the reality of an understanding of a broader reality of who we are. At least that's how I see it. But it doesn't stop there. Now, this is where I think many of us, including me, have to really stop and think about this. Wisdom takes knowledge into understanding and moves towards itself, and you step into an active role of service. Let me say that again. You do not hunker down and hide in a shell or pontificate on Facebook endlessly or whatever, and I've had to check myself. I am doing these videos to be of service to those who I believe will be brilliant. And wisdom provides a path of service to be the light. And that's how you go back on this spiral. So in wisdom, you serve what we have in understanding, and service to others out of the love empathy, which AI will never do. It's not heart coherent. I do what comes from my wisdom and from my understanding of my knowledge as a heart awareness of where I am to go, who I am to listen to, who I am to serve, not a random appropriation of these things, but a very clear path of wisdom of where am I to serve, where am I to give of myself and flow in myself. And this service is always helping others reach their divine life and progress toward their full potential. It is not egoic. It is not a way to make money. It is not a way to hustle, although the overflow of all that may be an abundant life of finances and some type of rising up, putting you in new directions to speak to people that are different than you. So there, yes, Tanya, exactly. Alchemy. Alchemy is the transmutation of that which is inside of us, and it's the healing and the increase of light. So we're going to do service to ourselves first, doing what we need to do to fill our cup and to know that we are valid and we are divinely human and we love ourselves. And then we serve others from love, honor, not agenda or not obligation. We feel full of light and joy and love. And then we're going to serve the spirit within us, which is God, which is a higher purpose to benefit the greater whole, the bigger picture. Now, that was a lot, I know. I have tried all week to condense this down. You do not know how. Usually I don't have a hard time writing messages, like they kind of just come to me. But in this new place I am, having left all behind, nothing is familiar anymore. Are you with me? There's no familiarity. I've not walked this way before. So I am dependent upon that inner gut instinct and awareness of my heart that says, keep going this way, even when it doesn't look like much. And I studied so much, and I went to do this video, and I was like, I don't know what the hell to say. It was so much, it was blowing my mind. And when I got quiet, suddenly within myself, I heard, why don't you talk about transhumanism as a religion and see how this quest for immortality is going askew right now and hindering the reality that we are divinely human. So I'm showing you my journey, and I hope I haven't spoken too fast. I try not to. Probably not going to happen. This is who I am. This is who I will be. But I just want to encourage you right now. Listen to this. Rewatch this. And please know in the depth of your being, you are not alone. There is a way set before you that you don't see very far down the way. But epiphanies will light up, and you will, without hesitation, you will walk into it. You will walk into it with so much passion, because even though you can't see, you will know. You may not see, but you will know that you know that you know. So in this coming age of AI technology, ask yourself to increase your ability to see, your ability to observe, your ability to connect the dots, your ability to critically think, your ability to know what is real, what is false. When false reality is all around you, will you know what is real and what is false? You are more powerful than you know, more brilliant than you will ever conceive, so start walking in it. And thank you from the bottom of my heart that you've watched this. So I'll read the comments later. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate every one of you. And I know that you have lots to say. And I know that you have lots of input. And thank you for joining me on my journey. I'm very grateful for it. Love you all.